He is charming, helpful, appears to be generous, willing to commit himself, the kind of man that many people think that you ought to marry. You do notice that sometimes he does things for you that make you feel uncomfortable, but after all, you're thankful for the attention, such as it is. And furthermore, as you stop to think about it and you begin to reflect, you do notice that he is somewhat controlling, but it's nice to be loved by a man who seems to take charge. That's a welcome relief. The problem is that as time goes on, you begin to discover that he's very controlling, and your opinion doesn't matter that much because he always knows what is best and he knows what should be done. There's something else that gives you a bit of pause, and that is the fact that he speaks disparagingly of his own parents, and you notice that everybody seems to have wronged him. And then you notice that he even speaks disparagingly of your own family. And that becomes very important and will be very important after you're married because he's going to want to separate you from your family. But he tells you that you alone understand him. You're not like everybody else out there. And so it is, he perhaps pressures you sexually, but you begin to think, well, all men are like that. Well, by the way, all men aren't like that, but you begin to think that that's maybe somewhat normal, and so you commit and you marry him. And what you don't understand is he's not interested in a partner. He's interested in someone whom he can control, someone whom he can possess. That's really what he's interested in. And then you see his dark side. First of all, it is verbal put-downs as he tries to minimize you, as he tries to criticize you and make sure that you know that he is so much superior and you are so foolish and maybe even stupid. And then he begins to tell you, you're just like the rest of them after all. You're not the woman that I thought you were going to be. And then perhaps his temper gets the best of him and you begin to notice that it is physical abuse. He slaps you and you hope that it will be the only time, and he may actually ask forgiveness. Of course, he will remind you that you made me slap you. So the good news is he might ask forgiveness, and when he does, he is genuinely sorry. The bad news is it won't change anything. He will do it again. And then when you have children, perhaps he will abuse them physically, verbally, maybe even sexually. Welcome to the world of abuse. And of course, you as a wife don't know what to do. Who do you tell? All of your friends think that he's such a nice man that if you were to indicate what was going on at home, they'd either call you a liar, A, or else B, they'd say, what kind of a horrible woman are you anyway to make such a nice man act that way? Because remember, his reputation in the neighborhood and in the church is still great. It's not necessary for him to be good, but it's very necessary for him to appear good. So you don't know who to tell. You don't know who will even believe you. Just for the sake of the record, here at the Moody Church, if you come to us and tell us that you have been abused or you are being abused, we will believe you. Keep that in mind. Well, what I'd like to do today, as you know, is to speak about this very difficult topic in a couple of words by way of introduction. First of all, even though I'm going to be speaking about men primarily as the abusers, of course there are women who also abuse their husbands, oftentimes because they are very passive-aggressive or in other ways. And of course there are mothers who abuse their children. But during this message, I can't continually refer to that and remind you of that, even though it will become apparent as the message continues.